This is honestly the scariest horror movie I have ever seen. This film is based on a true incident. It is said that when the movie was released, many people were so scared that they left the cinema hall. Even after that, the film still became one of the top 3 highest grossing movies in Indonesian history. A small warning for everyone, this movie is really scary. So tag your close friends and watch it together. Now let us start the story. Police once discovered more than 100 dried dead bodies inside an old house. All the bodies were placed in strange positions. They were kneeling toward a portrait on the wall, as if they were performing some evil ritual. But because the government had to host an important international meeting the next day, higher authorities ordered the police to suppress the case. The police chief could not go against the orders, but he also did not want so many innocent lives to be forgotten. So he secretly called a journalist and took photos of the scene as evidence, hoping that one day the truth could be revealed. After that, all the bodies were buried at the same place. 30 years passed in the blink of an eye. Not only did the case make no progress, but the place where the bodies were buried was now turned into a residential apartment building. After Nini's family of 4 moved into this building, his father started behaving very strangely. Every day, he would leave the house carrying a suitcase, and after returning home, he would lock it inside the cupboard. Even more strange things started happening in the building soon after they moved in. First, the garbage chute on the 8th floor could not be opened no matter what. With no other choice, Nini carried the trash down to the 7th floor. But surprisingly, the residents on that floor seemed to know he was coming. All of them had already opened their doors and looked at him with kind but creepy smiles. This made Nini feel extremely uncomfortable. After throwing the trash into the garbage chute, when he turned around, he saw all the neighbors standing at their doors staring at him. This scene almost scared him to death, but in the next moment, they calmly went back into their rooms like nothing happened. Nini started to doubt whether he was hallucinating, so he quickly rushed back home. Not long after that, Xiaowei, who also lived on the 8th floor, went out to throw away his trash. Just like Nini, he experienced the same strange situation. When he turned around to go downstairs, he suddenly heard a loud bang. The garbage chute door opened by itself. Without thinking too much, Xiaowei threw the trash inside. But the trash got stuck in the chute, so he picked up a wooden stick nearby to push the garbage bag down. But when half of his body went inside the chute, something unexpected happened. Xiaowei used all his strength and finally broke free from that force. At the same time, the iron door suddenly slammed shut in front of him. Soon after, heavy knocking sounds came from inside the chute. Just when Xiaowei was completely terrified, the same creepy sound came from behind him again. He was so scared that he immediately ran away. Although everyone survived the night safely, the strange incidents in the building did not stop. The next morning, when the neighbors were waiting for the elevator as usual, Xiaowei's mother accidentally dropped her bag. Coins spilled all over the floor, and many of them rolled into the gap under the elevator. After picking up the coins, she entered the elevator with the others. This old elevator, which had never caused any problems before, suddenly malfunctioned. It began moving upward uncontrollably. At the same time, the elevator door on the 1st floor opened automatically. A few young girls were playing downstairs when they went closer to take a look. They found many coins scattered inside. Without thinking, they rushed forward and blocked the wall. At that moment, the adults trapped inside the elevator tried their best, but could only open a small gap. They pushed the youngest girl, Xiaowei, out through the gap. Xiaowei tried to pull her mother out, but the people trapped inside had almost gone mad. To save themselves, they crowded the exit and blocked it completely. In the end, Xiaowei could only watch helplessly as the elevator fell down at high speed. Downstairs, one of the little girls noticed something was wrong. She quickly warned her friends to leave the place, but when she ran out, she saw that the other 3 girls were still inside, picking up coins. In an instant, the 3 little girls, along with everyone inside the elevator, were all killed. Everyone treated it as an accident, without realizing that an even bigger danger was waiting ahead. That night, strange events began to happen one after another. First, a heavy rain suddenly started falling. Most residents left early to take shelter. Because of this, no one helped to bury the bodies. The victims were temporarily placed inside their own homes. Later, a girl who lived alone, Tali, was listening to the radio. Suddenly, she heard her own voice on the radio, as if she had requested a song. After the radio turned off by itself, Tali heard painful sobbing sounds coming from the room. She looked up toward the sound and saw a horrifying sight. Another version of herself, cut in half at the waist, lying on top of the wardrobe. Terrified, Tali ran towards the door. There, she accidentally bumped into Donnie, the younger brother of Nini. It turned out Donnie had secretly liked Tali for a long time. He had come specially to ask if she needed any help. After Tali told him about her experience, she turned around and saw that the wardrobe was completely empty. It was as if everything she saw earlier earlier was just an illusion. Tali handed the radio to Donnie and asked him to throw away this strange and cursed object, being trusted by the girl he admired for the first time. Donnie had no reason to refuse. He threw the radio into the garbage chute, but just as he was about to go home, the storm caused an electrical failure in the staircase. The entire building suddenly lost power. At the stair corner, Donnie met the building caretaker. The caretaker said the rain was getting heavier, and he needed to check whether the doors and windows of the victims' homes were properly closed. Seeing Donnie alone, the caretaker forcefully dragged him along to help. Donnie was so scared that he almost cried. Seeing that the caretaker would not let him go, he gathered his courage and agreed. They went together to an apartment on the 4th floor. Only a married couple lived there, and both had died in the elevator accident. Wanting to leave this dark and frightening room as soon as possible, Donnie quickly ran past the bodies to close the doors and windows, but when he turned around, the caretaker had suddenly disappeared. When Donnie later saw the caretaker hiding in the bathroom, he finally felt relieved. However, the next sentence spoken by the caretaker made Donnie's heart jump again. Seeing the caretaker's firm and commanding expression, kind-hearted Donnie had no choice but to agree. But he never imagined that this unreliable caretaker would leave him with only one box of matches. The manager grabbed the flashlight and ran away, leaving Donnie behind. Donnie felt helpless, so he used the weak light of a matchstick and went to a room on the 13th floor. This room looked almost the same as the previous one. The husband and wife who owned the house were both dead, and even the windows were left open. As soon as Donnie walked close to the balcony, the flame in his hand was blown out by the wind. He got scared and quickly lit another match. At the exact moment the match caught fire, the two dead bodies behind him suddenly turned their heads and stared at him together. When Donnie turned around in fear, the bodies instantly returned to their original position, as if nothing had happened. Donnie, unaware of what was really going on, decided to leave the place as soon as possible. But while stepping out, he noticed water leaking from the ceiling, dripping directly onto the face of one of the corpses. Feeling pity, Donnie tried to move the body aside, but just then, the match in his hand went out again. This horrifying scene scared Donnie so badly that he crawled and ran out of the room in panic. At the same time, on the other side, his beloved Tali faced another strange incident. While she was lighting a candle to prepare dinner, a flash of lightning suddenly appeared. She felt as if someone was inside the bedroom, but when she turned around, she saw no one at all. Tali thought she was imagining things. She quickly opened the tap to wash her face and clear her mind, but suddenly she heard a strange sound near her ears. This terrified her. To drive away evil, she hurriedly changed into a white prayer cloth worn by religious worshippers and kept kneeling again and again, hoping to receive God's protection. But at the most critical moment, even God seemed unreliable. As soon as Tali stood up, she saw that her entire back was already filled with the ghosts of dead people. Terrified, she threw off the white cloth and ran outside the house, where she accidentally crashed into Donnie passing by her door. At this point, Tali was too scared to stay home alone and wanted Donnie to stay with her. What she did not know was that Donnie himself was also in serious danger. Meanwhile, Veena, the only survivor of the elevator accident, was guarding her mother's dead body at home. Suddenly, she heard a strange noise coming from the corridor. Holding an oil lamp, she walked out curiously and saw a figure standing at the end of the hallway. Another flash of lightning appeared, and the figure instantly split apart. Veena immediately recognized them as the three girls who were crushed to death in the elevator accident. Terrified, she ran back toward her house, but the door would not open no matter what she tried. Just as Veena was shaking with fear, she suddenly heard her mother's voice calling her name. Veena did not want her mother's soul to leave, so she hurriedly followed the voice. When she stepped into the elevator doors suddenly closed on their own. She quickly lit a match, but to her horror, she saw her dead companions standing around her, covered in blood. The fear made the flame in her hand go out instantly. When she lit the match again, she found that not only were the ghosts gone, but the elevator itself had also disappeared. In the next moment, Veena fell down the elevator shaft and died after hitting the ground. On the other side, Nini was searching for candles in her house when she accidentally discovered her father's suitcase. For many years, she had always wanted to know the secret hidden inside it. When the father fell into a deep sleep, Nini secretly stole his suitcase. After that, she went to an abandoned small house with her brother and a few other survivors. Together, they cracked the password and opened the suitcase. The moment the suitcase opened, a strong, bad smell spread everywhere. Nini never imagined that her father's suitcase was filled with chopped human body parts. Everyone was so scared that they ran away immediately. But while running, Nini suddenly realized that her youngest brother Bonde was missing. Without wasting time, she decided to split into two groups. Nini and Donnie went to search for Bonde and the other survivors. At the same time, Tali and their neighbor Dino went to find another exit from the building. Because of the heavy rain, the ground floor was already flooded, and there was no way to escape from there. Dino jumped forward and grabbed a pipe, planning to escape outside that way. But Tali knew she did not have enough strength, so she turned back. Seeing this, Dino also jumped back and decided to reunite with the others. Suddenly, a woman wearing a white veil blocked her way at the staircase. When the woman did not respond, Dino stepped closer and tried to lift the veil. In the very next moment, the woman suddenly disappeared. Dino thought someone was playing a prank on her. Angrily, she threw the white veil lying on the ground into the water. But strangely, the veil floated back by itself and covered her head. After a lot of struggle, when Dino finally pulled the veil off, a woman with a terrifying ghost-like face appeared in front of her. Dino was so scared that she fell backward. A steel rod behind her pierced through her neck, and she died on the spot. On the other side, while searching for her companions, Tali saw with her own eyes that the building manager's neck was twisted by an evil spirit at the staircase. Terrified, she quickly hid inside the garbage chute. She thought she had escaped the evil spirit, but at that moment, the radio that Donnie had thrown inside suddenly started playing by itself. When the radio sound stopped, Tali realized that an evil spirit was staring at her from above. Her legs became weak, and her body slid down uncontrollably at great speed. In the middle of the fall, her body broke into two parts, and she died. Meanwhile, Donnie was busy searching for Bondi with his sister. He had no idea that his beloved Tali had already died. When Donnie and Nini finally found Bondi, they saw that she was completely traumatized. Bondi told them that she had just seen the ghost of Little D, who had died many years ago. Little D's spirit revealed that their father was the mastermind behind everything. While everyone stood confused, their old father suddenly appeared. He claimed that he had killed people for the sake of Nini and the children. Saying this, he knocked all of them unconscious. When Nini woke up, she saw Little D commanding the evil spirits to tear their father's body apart. The next victim was about to be Donnie. At that critical moment, the old journalist who had taken photographs years ago arrived in time. Using spiritual tools, he drove away all the evil spirits. Then, with a small boat, he helped the remaining survivors escape from the building. The journalist told Nini and the others that he had been searching for the truth for many years. He finally discovered that Nini's father had made a deal to cure infertility. He forced his wife to join an evil cult and promised to kill 1,000 people. In return, his wife gave birth to 4 children. But making a deal with the devil always comes with a price. First, he was asked to sacrifice his youngest son. Then, he was pushed to complete the killing count. That was why he deliberately caused the elevator accident. However, in the end, he failed to reach the required number and was killed himself. Nini and her 2 brothers looked at the dark and terrifying building and silently swore that they would never return to this cursed place again. So friends, today's story ends here. See you in the next story.